Kyle, man, you're in the trenches every day with men just like myself, you specifically working with fathers. In your opinion, what is the current state of fatherhood in the US right now?
Uh, Look, so I often question myself whether I have like a fucked up view of this game because I was a fireman for 15 years. So I just, when the bell rings, you go to fucked up. That's where you go, right? So you see it all. And so I kind of disassociated from my fire life and then real life, thinking, well, those are fucked up people. And then I got into this transformation game. Then I started working with like all levels of people, with all different types of houses and all different types of incomes. And I'm coming to a conclusion that everyone's fucked up to some degree. And fatherhood is really fucking hard. And I'll be on call. I was just on a call right before this call with a 28-year-old with two baby mamas who is on Social Security and is lying to himself and blaming the fucking government and blaming his wives. And probably the biggest problem I see is this blame shifting and a man unable to point the finger at himself and say, where is my life fucked up? Where is the responsibility that I can take? What is the next move in order to get there? They don't have the capacity to do that. They just get stuck.
How old are you, Kyle?
44.
Okay, so you and I are right around the same age. I'm 41. So, we grew up 80s, 90s. I don't think our dads were sitting around having these conversations or blaming others. I think that this is a more modern problem with men, this blaming.
I think back then, man, it was just like holding everything in, right? And there's also a drawback to that shit because like my dad, he wasn't talking about his feelings, but he was miserable most of the time, right? So that pendulum can swing. It's kind of like being the fucking like savage kingdom builder and then getting deep into spirituality. It's like if you go too far to this side, it's like I'll talk to a guy and he's like, well, I read my Bible every day. And I'm like, it's not doing anything for you because you're a pussy. And so they go too far on this soft side. And then you got guys that go too far on this hard side. We talk about this a lot where it's like when I'm assessing a guy, I'm like, all right, is this a hard man with a soft heart? That's what we want, right? Is he a hard man with a hard heart, a soft man with a soft heart, or the worst motherfuckers is a hard man or a soft man with a hard heart? Like that guy's fucked. Soft man, hard heart, stubborn as fuck, won't look at himself, won't be introspective, won't say sorry, and he fucking sucks as a man. So we got to assess which one are we? And then how are we fucking up our lives based on what we're missing? So if we've got a hard man with a hard heart, that guy's going to work. He's going to go to the gym. Overall, he's going to take care of himself, but might be like a military dad, right? Not sharing any emotions, not asking any emotional questions, not really giving a fuck how anyone feels. We're just going to hammer through this shit. Don't be a pussy. Spit on it. You'll be fine. Every dad needs that, right? But there's also this other side. This other side that's like, hey, to his wife, how are you doing? Like how you and being able to reach out and put his hand on her and look her in the eyes and maybe even feel so much love for her that there's like some tears well up a little bit because he's like, damn, my life is good. Right? So there's those two sides that if you swing too far in one direction, it fucks up the game.
Now, you opened up when I asked you the first question at the beginning, talking about your background as a firefighter and, seeing some of the shit and, how it kind of trained and wired you to go into the darkness, fire darkness, right? But it's like go into the trauma. How do you think that's, helped you in being able to identify and see inside of men and do the coaching work that you're doing, right? Because you have experience, you know what it's like. You've even I've heard you talk about some of the, trauma that it's still carries with you today. How has that positioned you to actually be able to help men?
So I was raised in a good household. Like I wasn't raised in trauma. I was raised in a safe house. Like I was emotionally free to dream and to talk, and most of the guys that I helped did not experience that. They experienced trauma in their home. Even um, even a lot of people just to a lesser degree where they just didn't feel emotionally safe in their home. It was just a constant discomfort in their home of being criticized or judged. Like I didn't experience that. So when I got into the firehouse and I just got fucking hammered, dude, because I was a soft man with a soft heart. So the hard men with the hard heart fucking hammered me. And guess what? I needed that shit. And all through that process of getting just crushed and bullied as a grown ass man, I'm going to these chaotic situations and I'm supposed to call the shots. And I'm starting to see like the real pain of humanity, like the real pain that I'd only seen from the outside, but like being in it. So I'm learning these two things: one, how to deal with really insecure, hard motherfuckers that in the end are extremely insecure, and how to how to lead teams of them in chaotic situations. So I started to see the pain behind their eyes as I'm learning the pain of the world, and I am an empath. So I feel shit very deeply. So I'm feeling all of this for years, wanting to run, but knowing that if I quit, I'm a pussy. I have to figure this shit out. Like, so there was a drive in me to like continue and figure this out, and I did. I figured it out. I rose in the ranks and like became one of the guys and like learned how to manage that the chaos in the firehouse and learned how to lead in chaos. And what I found was as I started to get close to those guys and I started to take care of myself. I had the physique. I was skateboarding with my kids all the time. I started a supplement company. Me and my wife seemed to get along. I didn't talk shit about her at the firehouse table. So guys are like, dude, what's something different about you? What is that? So we started talking about it and getting into the philosophies of life. And I realized like, fuck, these guys really did not have good guidance. And they overall in life are not disciplined. They don't know how to communicate. They're fucking up their own marriages. They're drinking too much. They get to past their 30s, they start getting a gut. And so I started helping them with their physical fitness shit. But as we got deeper, I started to find out that behind the closed doors, that the real fucking fires were in their homes. And we say this all the time, like when a house burns down, insurance pays for it. When a family burns down, it destroys generations. And so my heart exploded with this calling to help my fellow brothers in the firehouse find those ones that have the smile in the front or the tough face, but behind the scenes they were burning down.
What are some of the fires in a guy's life that could end up burning it down? Kind of speaking to the audience here as we're having this conversation. I'm sure to Lem, some of this is hitting the guys out there. What are some of those fires? Catching them early, right? Fire prevention, so to speak, as we're speaking to a former firefighter. So, like for the guys out there, it's like, what are some of the signals that there's about to have an explosion within the home that guys need to be aware of?
Dude, this anger shit and being right on the edge of snapping all the time. Like this is the thing I used to be that fucking guy. So like I know this very well. Um, when I came in with a as a soft man with a soft heart, right? But after enough abuse and enough getting fucking angry, I was like, fuck these guys. So I was getting my ass to the gym, going to jujitsu, building myself until I was like, I'm gonna fuck all these motherfuckers up. And when I did, it felt really good. But I became a hard man with a hard heart. And that hard man with a hard heart would come home and treat my kids and my wife like I was in the firehouse. Like everything was a fucking war. Everything was a war. I had to protect my ego and protect my pride. And I'm gonna fucking win every argument, every fight, and I'm gonna control everything. Fuck, dude. That's how you burn a fucking family down. So then you become a hard man with a hard heart. You can't be introspective. You can't ask yourself, hey, am I a good man? Is there things that I can work on? Are there things I need to change? You can't ask that question because it's too painful. And so what happens? Well, you're drinking too much, your fucking body's falling apart. Now you hate yourself, but you won't even tell yourself the truth that you actually hate yourself. And all that anger is now starting to point right at the person you love the most, your wife. Marriage, I think, is the hardest part of the game. It's the hardest part of the game for guys. I have, I'll have a group of 40 guys at my event, and we're talking about marriage, and every single one of their marriages is fucked. And these are good men, high producing, high level, disciplined motherfuckers.
Have we been sold a false image of what a marriage is? You shared the story there of, being at the firehouse, you're sitting around the table, you guys are breaking bread, having conversation. It's like you stood out to the firehouse because you were the one guy that wasn't speaking negatively about his home, about his marriage. That means that there, in my opinion, a perception and belief that a marriage is supposed to be something that is, it's going to be challenging, right? But that there's supposed to be some anger, some frustration shared publicly. So, how much of this is just our idea of marriage has just been fed to us the wrong way, right? They talk about, the old ball and chain type of thing, right? It's like you almost feel, like men have been told that once you step into a marriage, it's like now you're chained, now you're shackled. So, have guys been sold a lie of what a marriage? I'm a single guy. I've never been married. So I'm asking here, like for myself, but also for the conversation. Like, have we been told a lie of what a marriage is supposed to be? Or should we feel chained?
Yeah, I think it's like this lack of awareness that men have, so they get because we're naturally driven to like build ourselves and become amazing for the woman that we're gonna find. It's like when you're out on the fucking town, you're like you're gonna look nice, dress up, you're gonna take care of yourself. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna get laid tonight, and then you find that chick, and you're like, fucking got her, and then once you get her, then all of a sudden you just you rev down, bro. Right? So once you rev down, now she's like sold a bag of goods, dude. She's like, well, wait, I thought you were gonna get better from here, not fucking worse. So he gets fat, he starts drinking more, he starts losing discipline, he starts hating himself. Career wise, a lot of guys will just kind of go, right? And she's like, hey, I kind of want more money. And he's like, bitch, you just want money. And then they have kids, throw fucking kids on top of that. Now her sexual attraction goes down as she has kids because she doesn't need him anymore. Emotionally, she really doesn't need him. The kids fill this empty place in her heart. So then he loses connection with her because she's not instigating as much, right? So now he's saying, fuck you, bitch. You don't even love me. When in reality, he's become a fucking piece of shit. So she's not even attracted to him at all. Then when she brings it up to him, he snaps at her because he's frustrated all the time. Then by not getting laid, he gets more frustrated, which further drives her away. And then this is where they sit in the home. And this is the example that they give to their kids. So and they can't figure it out. They don't know what's happening. They just know there's a disconnect and they hate each other. And they're like, what the fuck is this? I can't not fight you.
While trying to hold the kids to a standard that they're not even living up to themselves. They're trying to discipline and preach, but then the kids are looking at them like, bro, you're not even walking the talk that you're talking to me. What's up with this?
Yeah.
Right?
Treat your mom with respect. And he just got done fucking chewing her out.
Ooh.
Yeah. And here's the hard part. This is where guys are like, but I have to work hard and I have to do all this shit and then I have to deal with this. Yes, stupid. Like, and then guys will like talk to me about my program or whatever. Like, I don't know if I'm ready for this yet. I'm like, you're already in the deep end, stupid. Like, you're the one who got married and had the kids and built the business or whatever. Like, you're already drowning. What do you mean you're not fucking ready for this? They can't see that the water's right here. They can barely fucking breathe.
How do we wake guys up? Because I see it every day too, Kyle. I have the messages in my inbox. I'm on the same calls that you're on. It's like so many guys have to wait to the point of the fire in the house to wake up. Like, what? And I know we can't save them all, right? Maybe this is an unanswerable question. I don't know, but like, how do we get the guys other than paying for advertisement just like you are, where you're literally screaming at guys. Like, is that the pathway, or is there something else to wake the man up before the house is in the fire?
Dude, anybody listen to this, I want you to hear this very clearly. Most of you will fucking have a terrible fucking life and you'll die in your shit. So what do you want? What do you want, motherfuckers? What do you want? You want to be that guy? Because you probably will be. And unless you develop an intentionality that is so rock solid that it will blast through any brick wall, you will be that motherfucker that dies. It's hard. What's required of us to have an epic life is feels fucking impossible. And you'll have to go through so much fucking mud, like your boots just filled with mud, tromping along with your legs burning, and you cannot see an end to the swamp. And the only guys who are going to survive that are the ones that just have faith and keep tromping. But if you fall in the mud and sit, it'll overtake you. You'll get lost in it, and you're fucking deceived. You're gone. Full possession.
That's real, man. So for the guy out there that hears that and is cynical, right? It's like, well, what's the point? What's on the other side of accepting that call?
Suffering. And that is, I think that's the acceptance of the call, is stop trying to run from self protection. Guys will protect themselves in two ways. They're fucking pussy ass people pleasers, which is fake mask, or they're hard as fuck, like chest puffing, fucking, I'm not scared of nothing. Masks, both lies. But at some point, we got to just crack open the truth, take the mask off, and be like, this is me. But we're so afraid of rejection from our wife, from our kids, from the world. We're just afraid of rejection. If they knew who I really was, and then our secret fucking shit that we do, you know. I mean, you talk about that shit all the time. I was lost in that shit for 7 years. Raised religious too. Fuck guilt, bro. Oh my god. Just like, how are you, brother? I'm fine. How are you? Both of us are at home. It's so fucked. But it's also the process of becoming this man. Like you have to go to the darkness and wrestle with it and somehow escape. So you got Coach Frank here who's like, bro, I've been there. I've been there. Wake up, man. There's light on the other side. You could get out of this.
So suffering on both sides, though. There's suffering of staying with the mask on, of staying a watered down version of yourself, of not living in truth, not living integrity. That's one form of suffering. You accept the call from God, though, to step into the man that He's called you to be. There comes suffering with that. So what's the difference of the suffering? Where does this suffering on this side, the call, lead us to? Like, is there a final destination, or is it suffering and till the end on both sides?
Yeah, I think it has to do with like either moving or not moving, right? So like if I choose the suffering of complacency, then I'm stuck and suffocating in the mud, which means 10 years from now, I'm going to be deeper in the mud. If I choose the suffering of the mountain and the harder path, then I'm going to find myself on a great adventure, and I'm going to write an amazing book with my life. And then I'm also going to get the feeling I have right now with the goosebumps all the time, right? So I get to suffer, but I get inspiration and this spiritual vibration within me that carries me forward. And there's dark times where you feel utterly alone on that path. That's part of the test. But it's like, if I can just lock in my habits, like these are the things I do every day. These are my values and boundaries that I will not cross. And then I'm going to go chase my dreams. And I'm going to do whatever is required that are in the bounds of my integrity. Then I will have a great life. I will learn the lessons I was supposed to learn. I will learn how to communicate and build great relationships. I might have to go through a divorce or two. I might have to get fired, go bankrupt. I'm going to have to go through shit. But if I just lock in and become habits guy, not fucking feelings guy, and just rock forward, we're going to find ourselves in a great place along the way. But if I sit in the mud, then all I get's mud.
Yeah, I love that, man. Accept the suffering up the mountain. You still struggle, but you develop yourself along that adventure. There's an adventure waiting for you. It's interesting. I've been going through a very deep study of the Book of Genesis right now, and it's like our conversation starts in Genesis 2, right, within the garden with Adam playing victim, right, to his wife, right. It's like why are you hiding it naked? It's her. Like he blames his wife right there from the initial, fall. Then you move through the story. It's like we get into another part where now God is calling Abraham to an adventure, right? Your life is meant to be an adventure. You're 80 years old. Leave your father's house, leave the comfort, go on this adventure. That's the call to every single man. Stop blaming others for yourself. Take responsibility. Stop being a victim in your life because waiting for you is the adventure of your life. I love that so much.
Bro, it's so true. And then, along this adventure of life and trying to make something of yourself, there's just these pockets of just utter failure. And you have to own that. And fuck, in the world of transformation and leading men, like, dude, I have my own failures. Like, I have fucked up so many times in front of my people. Like, I've even like slipped and looked at porn and like after 7 years and like had to go tell the couples we coach, like, yeah, I told my wife I looked at some shit that I shouldn't yesterday. It's so humiliating, but it's real life. Or just financial ups and downs, like with my clients that I tell them everything. And doing that, exposing yourself along your path, it protects you because and then also nobody's inspired by you when you're fucking just killing it and everything's easy. It's like you have to
You're unreachable. You're unrelatable.
100%. And I don't care who you are, it's hard to do that. It's hard to fucking go, "Hey, here's me. Look how fucked up I am." It's fucking hard, dude. It hurts.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've been following some of the stuff you've been sharing. I mean, I'm new into your world here recently, but it seems like you guys are kind of going through something right now that you're very open and public and sharing. And I have so much respect for that because I think it's real. And I'm excited about like where this is gonna go, dude. So just so you know, man, I'm plugged in. I'm like, where's Kyle going with this? Because I'm gonna be there at the top with him. We may climb some of these mountains together, man. That's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, I think it's really cool to tell your real story along the road. Like as a coach, it's really profitable to like just lie. It's super like short-term profitability. You should just lie and just say how awesome you are all the time. But I think long-term and in transformation, it requires a leader to crucify himself and expose himself over and over and over again. And it creates really deep and powerful trusting relationships over time. And that is transformation. So it's required.
Well, dude, that's how I ended up here, man. I think I told you before we hit record, a little bit about my story. It's, I got into this coaching space through the path of muscle building, right? And like I projected this perfect image, this perfect version. Is like my message was always about muscle building, but more it was rooted in transformation, living your best life. Because bodybuilding did save my life. Back when I was 15, like stepping in the gym saved my life. And it set me down this path of living a pretty amazing life despite having, some of my own struggles and demons I've had to fight. Like I've done some pretty cool shit and I'm proud about that. But the origin was the fitness part for me. So when I got into the coaching transformation space, I said I can help people transform their life through muscle building. But I hid all the secrets. I hid all the shame. I was struggling with addiction. It wasn't until I exposed all that and I was like, hey, I'm the bodybuilder that's addicted to porn. Right. And like that was the beginning of this Superhuman life and then becoming the rebuilt man and everything we're doing now. But it was me sharing those pains and struggles that really my first 10 clients that paid me money for porn recovery coaching were guys that had been following my muscle building content for like 3 years. They never gave me a cent for muscle. The minute I said, hey, I'm struggling with this shit, they're like, we want to pay you just to help us transform as well. It's so unique how that works.
Yep. And that's like for us that's like our first crucible. It's like that first jump off the cliff to just expose yourself because every man uh has these struggles. Every single man. has some embarrassing struggle that they don't want to share with the world, uh, ups and downs in their life that they just want to keep to themselves. And when you don't have a brotherhood or a tribe to share that with, you start to rot inside, and there's an inability to move forward. And so, like what you're providing for these guys is a place for them to be real, and we just crave that as men, to just be able to be honest and authentic in a group of men that don't judge us and just respect us for who we are, respect and love us for who we are. And we can just be as fucked up as we are or as awesome as we are, and both are accepted. And then we work through the problems together. It's like guys get so shameful when they like cheat on their diet, or maybe they like look at something they shouldn't, right? And like I always tell guys, like, hey, why don't let's stop fucking getting so serious about this, and why don't we just go like, huh, huh, I wonder why I did that.
Oh, bro. That's the golden question. I wonder why I did that.
Rather than like, let's skip all the like, fuck me, I'm such a fucking idiot, like fuck. Skip all that and just go, huh, not what I want, doesn't get me to where I want to go. So let's like start picking this apart. Like, why did I do that? And then make a plan, get a coach or a group, tell them what your plan is, be held accountable, tell the truth through the process so that if you slip again, they can be like, really, it's not them holding you accountable, it's you exposing yourself to them. That's power. It's like, I need you to hold me accountable. No, I need you to tell me the truth. We're here to extract your truth. If you become a truth teller, your transformation is inevitable.
I had this question come up a lot. You're talking about taking the responsibility. You slipped up, you looked at the thing. A lot of our guys will resonate with that. For many of them, though, that becomes the shame cycle, right? One glimpse on social media, one plug into the URL browser, that wasn't aligned with what you wanted to do, can lead you down this destructive path of days, weeks. Sometimes it completely derails you from the path that you're on, and you find yourself months deeper into the pit, right? A lot of guys are trying out there to change through daily action, right? Creating habits, get jacked, get respected, get desired. That starts with your daily habits. Sometimes though, I talk about identity transformation. It's like we have to become this person. And there's a window of time though, where you have to do the thing to become the person. But oftentimes while we're doing the thing, our mind is telling us we're not that person. How do we not listen to the thoughts that are telling us this is not who you are. Who you are is really what you did last week, to stay on the path of executing.
Yeah, it's just being able to distinguish the lies. The voice of the dark one seems very real and true most of the time. So like we got to learn to distinguish this. And how do we distinguish that? That's in the moments of planning and clarity where you're like, what do I want? What do I want? What is the plan to get there? Okay, I'm locking in, committing myself to a group of men to hold me accountable to get there. And then when I start to feel these feelings, I'm like, I'm not this guy. I need to say that to my peers so that they can go, tell me more about that. And then you start to talk yourself back into understanding that you're full of shit, and your flesh is trying to make excuses for you to go back to the mud. Period. But you can't do this alone, motherfuckers. You cannot do this alone. You will literally be 100th of a man if you try to do this shit alone, without accountability and without a place to expose yourself. And church doesn't work 99% of the time because all of you are fucking liars.
So real. So real. Let's talk about the physical part of it, because I know that's a core theme of what you do with men, and I think it was kind of the change point for you. So where were you at in life when you woke up and you're like, dude, it's the physical first. Like, I got to get my body in check. Like, what was going on, and how did you kind of formulate a plan for yourself, and what's that looked like for you since then?
Yeah, like so I was never like a super fat guy, but I was like dad bodied cardio skateboarder dude, and I was a fireman, so I thought I was good enough, good enough, whatever. But in fireman world, like man tribe, like the strong survive, man. Like we eat our own. And it's got there's something about that's it's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to push you to fucking wake up. So I tore my knees up really fucking bad, like really bad to where I couldn't bend them. And then I was like, all right, I'll take some time off. Got off the truck. They put me in the office. I started getting depressed. I was like, man, I get back to the gym. Started working out, threw my back out, but got elbow tendonitis. So now I've got two fucked up knees. I'm only like 33, and I'm like falling apart, dude. And I'm like trying to figure out how I can kill myself and still give my family a good life. Like I was there, dude. I was just like, fuck this. I was just a shell of a man. Little did I know God was just holding me underwater, dude. He's like, when are you gonna wake up? And so I remember locking in and going, I'm gonna figure this shit out. I'm gonna heal my knees. I'm gonna heal my knees. So I did a bunch of research and tried a bunch of shit for a year to no avail. And I finally found this book. And the book was like healing patellar tears, or I can't remember the name of the book, but I followed it to the T, and I started learning about like being extremely regimented. And I got into nutrition and got my macros dialed in, and I started lifting every day and just very learned about very slow progressive overload, and started healing my knees very slowly. And a year later, I found myself in the squat rack with just 225 on the bar, but I realized like I did 20 reps at 225 with no pain, and I just broke down into tears. I was like, and then and then I'm looking at myself in the mirror. I had developed some fucking basic athletic body, like bicep veins and shit. And my traps were kind of popping, and I'm looking at myself like, what the fuck? Oh my god, we did it. We did. And I was going back to the firehouse that Monday, and I walk in the door. Nobody recognized me. Nobody treated me the same. Like what you guys got to know is like they called me Slim Shaky before this. I was abused. I was like not respected. I couldn't make decisions. I was nervous, and I got my discipline in my body dialed in, and I came back and I fucking ran those motherfuckers like right up the gates. So it directly connected to my brain and my confidence, which then directly related to the direction of my future. And without going through that shit, uh, there's so many decisions that I made to build an amazing family and relationship with my wife and fearless trajectory of just authenticity and creation that I never would have had the balls to do if I didn't get my body fucking dialed and commit to it for life. It wasn't like I wasn't in the mirror going like, I made it, bro. I was like, no, no, this is the path. I commit to you in the mirror. I commit to you that I will never stop this path. I will be here every fucking day and I will never let it go again. That's where that feeling of the tears came from. The tears came from the commitment to myself and myself saying to me, thank you. Thank you for being that guy.
It's incredible, man. I tell people all the time, and it's a core theme of my message. The fastest path I think to changing your life is through a physical transformation. Doesn't matter where you are. Like if you're in the shit, get your body under control. Because, like you said, the biofeedback that comes as the daily reminder every single time you look in the mirror, if you're fat and out of shape, it's a reminder to yourself that you're not honoring, that you're not respecting, that you're not prioritizing yourself. And every time you get fit and in shape, that daily reminder is, dude, you're in charge. Like you got this. You can do anything. You are a man of integrity, discipline, honor, respect. It's to yourself. And then it changes. I'm sure you experienced because you were Slim Shaky. Now you're superhuman Kyle. It's like the respect you get from others when you walk into a room and you carry a presence is life transforming as well.
Yeah. And I think like um that I played with transformation from different angles, and I've tried to lean into the spiritual side, like when these guys come in, they're undisciplined, they're kind of soft, and I've gone spirit first. They love that shit because they don't have to do hard shit.
Mm.
So, like you spiritual people that are soft, you're doing no one any favors. You're
Well, the spirit lives in the body, bro. So it's like weak. If you got a weak body, there's no protector of the spirit.
and I don't even
And I
think
mean that metaphorically and literally.
I absolutely agree. And I like if you can't suffer, you're not going to be spiritual. And the best thing about these early mornings where you go step into physical pain every day is you accept suffering so that your brain goes, "Okay, we're choosing suffering today. Like, we're choosing it." And so it sets you up, but if you wake up and you just have your coffee and you read your Bible, and then it's like 1 o'clock, you've done literally nothing physically difficult at all, or really even mentally difficult. Then you work all day on your computer, and then your kids come home, you're like, "Hey, guys," it's like, what did you do to test yourself today? You're just gonna get weaker and weaker, softer and softer, and then you're gonna start, like, just, like, spouting scriptures at people to show how much you know, to 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 somehow protect your ego.
One of the things I've been talking a lot about here recently, it kind of came out of me doing 75 hard, which I did from December 2nd to February 14th. It was my second run through, but it was the one that I was most dialed in for. Now I've been locked in for fitness for 15 plus years, competed pretty high level bodybuilding. Like, so there was always that component of me of like, I enjoyed the gym. So there reached a point where it wasn't hard, wasn't challenging, but everybody talks, but 75 hard is a different ball game, bro. Like I took it to the next level. I committed to doing a 70-pound ruck as my second workout every day. Now I haven't stopped since December 2nd. So I'm like 160 consecutive days of putting 70-pound vests on my body. Bro, it's brutal. But one of the things I've realized, and I've been talking a lot about this, is we had this conversation about doing the hard things. It develops you. And I think people believe that if I do the hard thing for a short period of time, the hard things become easier. But put 70 pounds on your body and walk outside in the elements, in the rain, in the cold, in the heat, in the nighttime, in the daytime, and you realize the hard thing sometimes stays hard. What's been your experience with like these daily commitments of doing the hard shit, but knowing like it's going to be hard, but I still got to do it?
Yeah, I'm going through a phase right now where, like, I don't wanna work out at all, dude. For some reason, like, the alarm's been fucking more painful than ever. I've had a lot more stress as, like, our in my business revenue dropped massively over the past, like, 6 months, and we were highly
Welcome to the
leveraged.
ball game, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, we were so I had all these employees, and I had partnerships, and just dude, we were, like, putting out $130,000 a month, and and then we dropped by like 75%. So I was like, fuck, cut. But what had to happen? The daily fucking disciplines had to happen. And then dealing with my wife and her stress of like, what's going on? I'm like, hey, we got to move out of this house. We got to downsize. And like, I'm like, hey, we might need to get rid of your car, you know? So I'm juggling her, like, and the daily disciplines have to continue. Guys always say, "Well, I hurt my shoulder, so I got gained 100 pounds," or "Business is really difficult." I'm like, bro, if you let go of the rope on this shit, you're gonna end up in such a fucked up place. Because let's say your worst fear financially actually happens. Now you're fat as fuck. Your marriage is in the shitter, and your kids hate you, and your business is fucked. Good job. When you could have just had some financial troubles, had an epic marriage, been jacked as fuck, and your kids love you, and you're like, this isn't even a big deal. We're just gonna work on some shit and make some cuts and rebuild. It's not a big deal, but it's a big deal when your whole life falls apart.
Dude, I've been in that same shit, bro, and I appreciate you sharing that. I think that's one of the things that's drawn me to you, man. Is like I thought I was the only one that in the last 8 months like lost 80% of revenue. I was realizing no, it's like happening to a lot of us. We're going through kind of a change, economically. Like we're uncertainty, like in the U.S. Like what the hell's going to happen? Algorithms are changing, ad spend is changing, all of these things, and I wrestle with it every day. Like, am I shutting this shit down and am I just going to go sell something high ticket for somebody else and make a whole lot of money, or am I committed to the mission? I'm committed, bro. And it's like, all right, I'm in the shit right now with other people, and I appreciate that. But you talked about, man, like navigating and juggling the wife's emotions, right? Like here you guys, living this amazing life. And it's like your partners and you guys do a lot of things together and your life is publicly broadcasted. But behind the scenes, like you're dealing with real world shit. There's guys right now that aren't public out there, but their life was one way a couple years ago and things are changing. Now they're struggling to even deal with the wife's emotions. Talk to the guy out there that's kind of like disconnected. He feels he's leaving his wife. Like, how does he continue to create that respect and desire from his wife when in reality, it's like the shit's kind of blown up, dude?
Yeah. Okay. So, um, so like my wife, right before this call, freaked the fuck out. She's in the shower, and I'm driving up to go to a podcast, and she's going to my son's swim meet. Well, I didn't know she's going to my son's swim meet. Bad communication, and we've got two cars, and one needs some work done. It's kind of dangerous to drive, and so We've got this thing. She had just trimmed my beard. There's hair all over in the shower. So and she just moved into this smaller house. It's not put together yet. Fucking explodes. Okay. Now, most men's responses are, oh, ouch. So they get defensive or they attack back or they tell her what she needs to do or fucking, you need to calm the fuck down. Like, I don't need this shit right now. Stop. You're the fucking man. Okay. So you know what you do? You go, oh man, are you okay? What do we need to do? What do we need to do? All right. All right. No, you know what? I'll Uber up there. You take the car. It's fine. Hey, we got this. It's all right. We just got to get a little better at planning. She's like, motherfucker, fuck this. And I'm like, you'll be all right. Shut the door, walk downstairs, and I'm laughing. Laughing. This is the fucking key in marriage because every wife I've worked with hundreds of couples. Every wife freaks the fuck out. Like, not all the time. There's levels to it, right? But every wife's gonna freak the fuck out. And everything's gonna be a big deal to them. We can't make it a big deal to us. Nothing's a fucking big deal. Nothing.
That takes a level of emotional maturity, maybe emotional intelligence. I'm sure you would agree. So, what are is there a tool in the toolbox that you lean into, to in the moment, right? Like, are you working on it every day? Like, is there something that you call on right there in the moment to help you regulate those emotions? Because it's real, right? Like, the thoughts and feelings are one thing, but then it's the physiological changes that take place with that. Like, that's where guys struggle is their nervous system shifts. Now they're in a fight or flight, and they can't manage that because they lack something emotionally. So what's the tool there in the moment?
So just and so everybody knows I feel those feelings too when she does that, right? I go, okay. And I'll tell you in the moment what I do, but then how the fuck do you build this? So in the moment, I go, well, I know what that monster does. I know where this leads if I let this guy out right now. It's never good. Never. I also have spent years writing back and forth with my wife every single day in these things called stacks that we write to each other. So I know her mind like mine. And I also am massively empathetic towards her because I know how she feels because we've been communicating back and forth so long about what's going on inside of us. Most men don't talk about feelings at all, but you got to understand you in depth and have a thermometer in there at all times. And then you have to have an understanding of your wife and what's going on, how she works. And then you can't have a thermometer in her all the time, but you got to check in. You got to check, right? Now, how do we develop this guy? Through writing and introspection, yeah, but it comes down to one thing. I respect the fuck out of myself because I am a good man. And when I look in the mirror, I'm like, I'm proud of you. Regardless of my failures, regardless of things that I can't control, regardless of being a fucking idiot sometimes, my heart is good and I work my ass off and I'm disciplined. And when I look in the mirror, I love that guy. And that is what we have to fucking develop. That's where porn fucks us up, right? That because it will just dig at that fucking voice. It's like you're a piece of shit. Yeah, and it's not true. It's a lie. Just because you look at porn does not mean you're a bad person. That's a lie. But that is a a loudspeaker of the adversary, man. He'll get a hold of you and just speak lies to your soul, and you'll believe it the deeper you get.
You mentioned earlier, it's been 7 years, I think. You shared you had a slip. I don't think it was a slip, dude. You just did something, right? It was kind of like
Yeah.
whatever. It was out of line.
The
You
fucking
processed it. You
the
shared it.
fucking Instagram little like got me, and I was like, ah, fuck.
But what because dude, there's still guys out there right now that are daily consuming it. It's like no big deal, no problem. Was it the religious conviction growing up that struggled with you, or was there a point when, so 7 years ago, you're 36, 37 at the time, like, something happen? Did you wake up? Like, was there a disconnect? Like, what was the call? What was the wake up 7 years ago? It was like, I got to finally get this out.
Yeah. So when I was raised Mormon, so that's a real no no, right? And part of it was like I tried to share in the church, and nobody would speak up. I felt alone. I kind of was like, I was at the firehouse at that point. I was like, you guys are full of shit. So nobody had the balls to come step in the mud with me, right? So that kind of it burnt me a little bit. So I ended up kind of leaving God altogether. I was like, you know what, fuck this. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's just pictures, and I love my wife. I'm a good dad. I'm just gonna roll with it. If I feel like looking at porn, I'm gonna look at porn. Who cares? And that's a stance you can take. But I started to really feel this pull in my soul of being in alignment and having integrity. That came from God, in my opinion, but at the time it wasn't God. It was a very stoic Roman, like, I want to be a good man for the sake of being a good man. It had nothing, and it wasn't God, which I love this because there is a intent of your heart. And if your intent of your heart is I want to get to heaven, then you are at a lower level of commitment. If the intent of your heart is I want to be a good man for the sake of being a good man because I was put on this planet to be a good man, then now it doesn't matter what your beliefs are or where your doubt is. That is your goal, and you're not doing it to get anything. You're doing it because it is. And that's what I started to develop into as a psychology, as a philosophy. And when I really delved into that, porn came up immediately. I was like, ah, fuck. I was like, I was like, does my wife want me to look at that? No. No, I know she doesn't. Does she know about it? No. I'm a liar. I'm a fucking liar. I'm a hiding little bitch. So I went home that day when I had that, and I go, hey, Wit, this is what I've been doing. This is what I've been thinking about it. Here's what I think about it now. She had a couple cries. She was uh, concerned. We talked about it for the next fucking 6 months, on and off, of the philosophies of it, the mind of a man. She went through it with me. Now she completely understands how a man's mind works, and has a window behind that. And now, like, together, we have a marriage where we fight each other's demons together. So, like, when I had my little slip a couple months ago, we woke up in the morning. I see my wife. I go, I got to tell you something right away. Like, did I want to do that? No, I didn't want to tell her. It was embarrassing. I'm the leader of Superhuman Fathers. I don't do that stuff. I'm disciplined as fuck. I was 7 years fucking dialed. So, but what did that do? It had her go, where we're at now. She's like, I'm sorry. I go, you're sorry? She's like, I've been kind of disconnected from you. I'll do better. I'm like, oh my God, you are the most amazing human. So, but the honesty will develop this relationship over time where my wife doesn't freak out about that. She takes responsibility. I take responsibility, and then we fight my demons together.
That's amazing, man. And something I hope every guy can experience a relationship with your wife. Sounds like such an incredibly strong woman, and to have that rock for you and what it does for the family there as well. You mentioned this stacking, the writing stacking that you guys do has really been transformative in you understanding her and her understanding you. You talked about helping guys get jacked, respected, and desired. What are some of the other, whether they're daily non-negotiables, weekly non-negotiables, monthly non-negotiables, just things within the relationship and marriage that keep that fire, keep that passion, keep that desire that you guys have for each other?
Yeah, I know it's stupid and it's so simple, but like I have to say it so many times. Like, fucking idiots take your wife on dates. Like, please. I would say it, and then I wouldn't do it for like a month, and then I would do it 2 weeks, and then I wouldn't do it for 6 weeks. Your wife, if she's home with the kids, especially, and if she works and you have kids, she's she needs she needs a time in her head on the calendar that she knows that there's freedom and an escape. She needs that. Otherwise, all she sees is this barren wasteland of desert that she's tromping through, and there is never going to be any rest. And so that's why she starts to freak out, because she doesn't see an escape from all this chaos and pressure. But if you do that, like Whitney and I, we go out every Tuesday and every Saturday, which means on Sunday, it's family day, and then Monday work starts, it gets heavy. Tuesday's a little fucked up and getting heavy. Tuesday night, we just sit and then we have 3 more days before the next one. So she knows that there is a relief coming. And so you do that for your wife, and it's that's literally life changing. One of the things that men don't do, and I'll finish with this, is they stop having fun because life gets so serious, and life does get serious. But when I talked about the wife not needing you anymore after she has kids, there is a truth to that. There's a place in her heart that is filled with her children that you used to fill. She doesn't need you in there anymore. But what she does need from you is 2 things. She needs you to provide, pay the bills, and she needs you to be fun. That's it. That's all she needs. If you do those 2 things, you'll get laid. If she feels fun around you, she'll want to have sex with you. But if you're serious all the time and critical and everything's fucked up, uh, her vagina is going to close off, and you're going to wonder what the fuck happened.
I got a buddy, Tony DiLorenzo. He and his wife run One Extraordinary Marriage, big podcast, coaching movement, speakers, in churches, ministry all across the world, really. And they have this framework that they teach to couples. It's called the 6 pillars of intimacy, and it's spiritual intimacy, physical intimacy, obviously sexual intimacy, emotional intimacy, financial intimacy. Those are the first 5. The 6th one is recreational intimacy, play, have fun with your wife, bring life and enjoyment. As humans, which are mammals, we have a center within our brain that is literally designed for play. When we engage in playful activities, this area of the brain lights up. If you remove that part from your life, you're removing that part of literally your brain working. So it's such an integral part, and such a part sometimes as men, especially driven, providing men, like we think if we play, we're not serious, right?
Your kids need you silly too. Like kids need silly dad, and it's hard to be silly when you had a really fucking hard day and shit's not working out so well for you, and you got fears and you got stresses and you got anxiety. It's like you got to leave that at the door and just go dance with your kids and like your wife off her feet and slap her in the ass and tell a joke.
Talked about Superhuman fathers. Obviously, it's for a select group of men. The guys that are still hanging with us here, maybe it's for them. You said at the beginning, right? Most of you are going to live a dark light. Like you're not going to accomplish much. That was real, man. We lost a lot of guys right there because people were like, "Fuck you, Kyle. I'm out of here." It's like, yeah, that's exactly why you're not going to accomplish anything, bro, because you can't take it. But for the guys that are still with us and maybe interested in getting into your world, Superhuman Fathers, what's it all about? What are you guys doing over there, and how can the guys learn more?
Yeah, like most guys need to start at the beginning. They need to start at wake up times and macros and workouts. That's where most guys need to start. And guys will say, "Oh man, Kyle, I really need to get disciplined. I need to get jacked." But really, what they're saying is, "I want to be a good example for my family, and I want to get laid, and I want to be successful in life." That's what they're saying. But they inherently know that when you're a fat fuck, like there's there's something there that's a problem. Like there's a problem, right? And please don't think that I'm judging you or hate you when I say that. I say these words to wake you up, right? But so step one is assessing that right there. Guys fall off and they just need accountability and they need exposure. That's it. So then once they get that dialed in, we go to the next level, which is our power couple path, and that's where we work on the energy and the communication in marriage. Because if I can get a guy jacked and I can get him laid, the rest of his life he's going to be a great father, by the way. Like if a guy's jacked and he's getting laid, he's going to be happy. He's going to be silly with his kids. He's going to have energy. He's going to be like, wow, what dreams can we accomplish in this world?
That's so real. That's so real.
Those are my two jobs for guys. So it's like if you are overweight and you're not getting laid, Superhuman Fathers is here to fix that problem.
Love it. Love it. Guys, we'll have all of Kyle's links and his socials and the link to your podcast with your wife there as well. We're coming up a midway point through 2025 here. What's kind of on the docket for you guys? Anything exciting coming in the second half of the year, or even more sooner than that?
Yeah. We've got the Man in the Arena is on May 17th. It's just a couple weeks out now, less than. And that's going to be massive. Thousands of guys in the Maverick Center in Salt Lake City. Really cool to have connected with Garrett, and he asked to come speak is a really huge honor. Like I was like, are you sure, Big G? You want me on the docket? He's like, come on, man. I'm looking. He's like, well, this is about transformation. Hey, I'm in on that. Um, and then, man, I'm I'm mulling over. I do a lot of like free shit for guys too. I'm mulling over starting a nonprofit. I have an ad campaign that's literally bringing in the darkest motherfuckers in the world, and they're all fucking broke. So um, we're probably going to focus on that. Continue to do the brotherhood that we're doing, and then really hammer down on helping more couples, like business owners who are overbearing and a little critical with soft, tender wives that keep their mouths shut because they don't want to get bit by you. That's like our specialty because that's who I am and that's who my wife is. So
What are you seeing guys are struggling with most right now? I think we've talked about it here probably pretty consistently, but just wrap it up. You mentioned, you're reaching guys right now that are in the shit. What's the shit right now that these guys are in?
it's marriage, man. It's marriage. A man, what does he want more than anything? To be desired by his woman. And he can't fucking hold the stress and he can't control his emotions and he can't lead. He's not leading himself. There's no fucking way he can lead his wife. She won't follow him. She's just going to just continually nitpick at him till he either leaves or steps the fuck up. And they continue to blame their wife. But if your wife is the problem, you're the problem because you're not leading. You don't have the skills. You don't have the energy. You haven't built yourself into that fucking man.
That's real, man. Real. Kyle, I appreciate it, brother. Like I said, we'll have all of the links. We'll have the link to the Man in the Arena. You guys got one coming up later this year in Miami there as well. Are you going to be a part of the Miami
I
event?
I don't know. I think we're all on like we're on probation right now. I think
Okay. Because I was just telling,
because they'll say in the text string like, "We'll see who will be here on the next one" to try to get everybody to be like, "Okay, we're gonna show up our best."
show up. Yeah, I think I found out a little bit too late to make it out there, but Miami is just a 4 hour drive down the road for me. I got a lot of family down there. It's a big city I love to get to. So hoping and praying that somehow I make my way on the stage. I got to figure out a way to get into your guys' world. But if that's not the case, I'll definitely be in the arena for you guys later this year. So it's been an honor, man. I'm so glad that we finally connected. Like I said, I heard about you a couple of years ago, but really you came on my radar here more recently, and super stoked. And I think we're aligned in a lot of things. So excited for what's to come for you, and just all the great things that are already happening in you and in your wife's life right now, and just the things you got going on with Superhuman Father. So guys, connect with Kyle. All the links down there in the show notes. But we'd like to wrap it up here with a final question. I'm going to put a little spin on it. So we had this final question. It's kind of centered around the theme of the show. Obviously, we are called the Superhuman Life. So I usually ask the guests what it means to live a Superhuman life. But speaking to the leader of the Superhuman Fathers, let's go a little bit more into your area of expertise. So, Kyle, what does living a life as a Superhuman Father mean?
Super human father. Human is the father. Human is the husband. Um, super, the human father is the flesh. The super is the soul. So in order to live the superhuman life, like we have to be driven by the soul. And which means we have to master both the spirit and the flesh. These are the two pieces of living the superhuman life. I missed the spirit side for a long time, but like we said, guys, we'll go straight into spirit and miss the flesh side. Or both. And we got to lead by example in both, and we got to get the results in both, and we have to get punched in the fucking dick while we're doing it and still show up.
Amen, brother. Amen. Brother, it's an honor, man. The no BS guide to living life as a Superman father. Guys, connect with Kyle. Share this one, rate, review. Let's get this out there, guys. Check out the Man in the Arena and all the amazing stuff. But your host, Coach Frank Rich, for Kyle of Superhuman Fathers. We appreciate you guys. We love you. We'll see you next week.